Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike, and we're kicking stuff off early. Hello, thank you very much. Avril and Spike, thank you very much for the 13 and 18 months. This is, doing great. People having fun with 1.1. Sounds awesome. Looks great. I was doing the campaign on a bunch of different characters. I was doing them all with veterans boots. I took the boots off for the stream because it's so slow going. But I've just made it to monoliths, so we're fresh into the monolith stuff. We finished all of our passives and everything, and we finished the campaign as well. So we're fresh into monoliths, and we're just gonna roll, and we're doing a slight variation on the shield slam build that's floating around right now for Forge Guard, which I didn't really realize was floating around quite so popularly, but thoroughly enjoying it. When I say variation, I do mean worse. Because I really wanted to have a manifest armor. I'm still trying to figure out how to fit that in properly. So I don't really want to take any of these out right now. I should really have sigils and volatile reversal. Should be the two things. Those are the two things that I'm actually missing of like the proper version of this. Yeah, welcome everyone to the stream. If it's your first time here, glad to have you with us. I like to play Last Epoch, and you guys like to ask me questions about it, and I'll answer them. If you have a question for me, please put @Last Epoch Game into the questions so I see it stand out, and I go, oh, that's one for me. We also stream for charity. Boom, right above my head. And yeah, that's about it. So let's get into it. Cyborg starting things off. Gonna hit you with a character sheet rework reminder. Nice and early today. Glad to have it with us. I wouldn't venture into the dungeon without it. How's the Dragon Form Privalist development going? Dragon Form. I assume you're the same person that suggested this recently. There's continues to be no development on it. All right. Hello, Mike. Hope you are having a great evening. I'm having a great day today. It is early afternoon for me, but it's going pretty well so far. Just want to thank you for obliterating the MG between the cycles, making everyone lose their gold items. Okay, so sarcastic comment. That's okay. If you have a bug report that you'd like to make, please submit that bug report to using the in-game tool. It's right here. Makes things a lot easier for us to try and fix the bugs. All right, how many times has the Pinnacle boss been killed already? I don't know, actually. I've seen a couple. I mean, it happened pretty quick. Hello, can you answer when we'll get to price check options in game? Yes, we don't. This is part of this is what I was talking about previously. Is the backend infrastructure for the bazaar and the way that was originally set up, the way it had to be originally set up because we didn't have any other options at the time. Did put some restrictions on how we were designing the UI and things we could put in the UI, just because it was inefficient to run the queries to the database to do some of these things. We have changed how that works now. It's all on a new database since 1.0. And we do have the option to now fix some of those things. So we are working on some updates to the Bazaar UI. I don't have a list of features that's going to include right now. I know one of the hotly requested ones is price check. I think we're looking to start more along the lines of just like search and sort and filter features that unfortunately were missed in the original version. But that doesn't mean it's over. So once we finish that, we will keep going and keep adding more stuff as well too. All right. Why not wearing the shark head MTX? It's amazing. we can put that on, sure. Like, which one is the shark head to you? This one? Do I not have it? I may just not have it. This is the hallmark of one of my builds, is they do not do enough damage. Ever? It's part of the reason why I should probably add sigils in. This thing is tanky. Okay. Do you think Woody will win the hardcore race? I've been keeping a close eye on him. I've got a good feeling about him. We'll see. We've got a channel set up internally to just be like, anyone who wants to get pinged when someone's getting close to a hardcore thing, because we're all like just gathered around watching. It was popcorn, by the way. All right. Serious question now. Were you surprised at how quickly the first Abbey kill happened? I don't know, surprised is probably the wrong word. I think it was maybe a little bit faster than I expected, but it's not really surprising. Like it was gonna happen quick no matter what. I was sleeping, so I guess it did catch me a little off guard. Please include an NPC at Merchant Skill, which we can buy all items from. If you got a suggestion that you'd like us to consider, please head to the forums or Discord, where there's a suggestion forums thread. We do actively poll all of those things and combine them together for something that gets passed along to game design every week. So if you've got something that you want to have in the game, put it there. It will actually get compiled. Because I'm just like a sieve. I will just forget it. Alright, moving on. Hello, thanks for the great patch. You're welcome. Glad you're enjoying it. Having a blast. Will you guys make something with melee skills range? Will you guys make something with melee skills range? No? Oh, you're talking about a bug. Yes, if you have a bug, please submit the bug report in game. We'll get to it as quick as we can. Oh, here we go, Nemesis. Here we go. Yeah, I've already done this one once. All right. I just survived this. I think I can just tank it. Charge. Oops. Okay, what's your opinion on people that say that the Pinnacle boss is the strongest boss they have fought in these types of games? I mean, I mean, it could very well be true. I don't know. Because like, even if they've played other games that have stronger bosses, they may not have fought them. So like, it could just be the strongest one that they fought. Like, sweet. Good luck. I hope you beat it. I don't know what else to say. Any draconic abilities would sate me and my Dragon deck. Don't worry, the Nemesis mechanic is fantastic. The leveling process with legendaries is glorious. Who's your favorite element to fight? Favorite element? Like... Oh, Nemesis element. Ah, yes. I like the cold one. Oh, it just looks nice. I know they're gonna get harder. They just haven't been super difficult yet. All right, next question. I don't have the shark head. Oh no. How do I get the shark head? Thought I was supposed to have everything. I do love that this like combo with the manifest armor, you just like end up being able to keep your manifest armor alive by spamming shield bash most of the time. Even though it is unspec'd right now. Can you tell me about how you came up with the Gulamander enemy? I have no idea. I am not on the enemy development team. If anyone is here that knows, feel free to answer.
I cannot do that.
Nice. We just need that we need our damage to get up so bad. We're fairly tanky. I'm wearing this dumb thing. It's just the highest one I've got so far. Also because I do want an axe specifically because of this. Which was broken but has been fixed, by the way. What are we doing here? Mana regen, I think. What are we doing here? More damage? More damage. We think more damage? More damage. What do we think? More damage? More damage. I think more damage? More damage. Because that gives us damage through this and this. We're going to get some damage. I promise. I had a hardcore tune. COF rank 10 last cycle. When it died, I logged into the software. Find skier wasn't usable since I didn't have COF requirement since I hadn't leveled on softcore. Yes, this is a bug. If you have any bugs, please report the bug to the in-game tool. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it every single time. If you do have a bug, please do not post your bug reports here. I will not help you with them. I will not write them down. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't happening. All in all, we've had very few major bugs, which has been great. A few with the migration thing, which has been really frustrating. There's always a few situations you don't account for. Skill MTX when it's ready. Don't have ETA, sorry. Will there be an option to choose different tiers of affixes in the auction filter? It's very inconvenient to search when you have different affixes. Yeah. I think this is one of the things that we are able to do now with the new setup. Not 100% sure though. You mentioned the patch notes for 1.1 changes to the character stat page, and people seem to unable to find scrollable system or changes. What changes were made? There are changes that were made and rolled back, and the patch notes, all but one patch note were also removed, and one patch note slipped in that mentioned it still. But it should be soon, I hope. Charge up here for a minute. Fantastic patch, thank you. You guys did a fantastic job. Do I remember correctly that there's an upcoming Merchant Skilled UI update? Muffin, I'm watching you. Yes, there is. That should come in like a 1.1 hotfix is when that should happen. If everything goes well, there should be one in a 1.1 hotfix. We've got a hotfix live now, actually. There we go. That'll have some stuff. Let's go. Let's maybe do something a little different here. You know what we could do? We could look at some patch notes and see what it's doing. Should we do that? Let's find out. Find out what changed. Wonderful. Aberoth is now available offline mode. Few things. Sorcerer passive. That's just showing the right information. Yeah, just some little things. Localization updates. Ooh, that was loud. And then some cosmetic MTX stuff. Yeah, one of the patch notes isn't really clear. So one of the things we did just change is weapons now say like so you see how it says weapon here. Once you get the next patch, which I don't have yet because I'm not going to stop midstream, it'll say one-handed axe now. But it's not just for that. Oh, hey, we do have the shortcut. Let's get it. It's not just for the just for this one item. Where is it? It's also for things like this. Instead of saying weapon, it'll now say bow. So anything that's, and also this. Anything that's like offhands as well. So like this will, instead of saying offhand, we'll say catalyst. Instead of saying offhand, this will say shield. So it's all the things now. Which is good. And there is some cross equipment compatibility that does happen, but it's better to think it won't work and have it work than it is to think it will work and have it not. Right? But yeah, so if you were waiting on the patch for offline Aberoth, it's go mode. Who's pinging me? Nah, I'm streaming, bye. All right. More things. All the things. Will there be more for organizing our chests tabs? Yes. Stash tabs are. We've got more updates for stash tabs organization coming down the pipe. Didn't quite make it in for 1.1, but I think it'll be in a 1.1x hotfix at some point. I hope. I don't see why I wouldn't. What can we do now? This is kind of cool to have because we do have the... We are using Shield Rush, but this is probably just better. Because it gives us more damage. No question today, just wanted to say it's been another excellent update. Nemesis and Harbinger systems filled so much needed holes in the endgame and item hunt. Looking forward to playing a ton of 1.1 and seeing what's next. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with the reception for Nemesis has been fantastic. Like, really happy with that. I know a lot of people are the big criticism we've had so far on it is they just want more of it. Which, as far as criticisms to have of it, that's a pretty okay one for us. I think we are turning it up a little bit. It's not quite pushed through yet, but I think that's well on its way. Get some XP tomes. Game is so good. First season playing it. Just one question: are the mana problems really needed? It feels so forced and sucks the fun out of the game a bit. I mean, okay, so we short answer, yes. Longer answer, we try to balance a lot of things in the game around mana. So like a lot of the like amount that you can use an ability, we try and focus that around mana as much as possible and give as few cooldowns as we can. Sometimes there are cooldowns, but that's one of the ways that we do try and just balance abilities, and nodes quite often the way we balance those in the skill trees is mana. And so it's kind of saying like, okay, well, if you take this ability in the skill tree where it's giving you a bunch of power but it adds more mana cost, you're gonna be able to use it a little bit less, and maybe you have to go get some mana in your gear because this like effect is really powerful that it like it warrants taking up some extra gear slots to help the mana situation for you as well. Now, recently, at 1.1, just this patch, we did add that ability to work with channeling abilities. 'Cause I think for a long time there was not that interaction, that like there was like a mana problem with channeling abilities, and there was no solution to it because even if you wanted to invest heavily with your gear, it didn't matter because that investment you made didn't do anything. And so I'm really happy now that it does, which is great. Any more crit? That's what I need. Need more crit. I should really just switch. I know the real build of this, and I just like I should switch to it, but I don't know. I'm enjoying. I was really planning on doing a like pure shield build where it was just like everything's shields all the way down. But the healing hands damage that gets added on is kind of necessary for Smite to really shine, I think, as a damaging ability. I mean, it is primarily a utility skill that we're off branding to damage, so it's not the end of the world. It's a little narrow. We can get a little more. Ah, you boss bar. You ever can't click on something in the UI and you're like, why? You're probably fighting a boss. Let's just open it this way. More damage. Great patch, having a blast? Glad to hear it. What do the different levels of dungeon... What do the different levels of the dungeon to grade a LP item matter? Can you quick explain? Like, do you mean like the temple, when you go to the temple sanctum to create, I think the grade is create, to create a legendary item, the only difference between the tiers is the maximum level of unique item that you can put in there. So like this being a level 27 item here, you can up, if this had LP, you can turn this into a legendary item in any tier of Temporal Sanctum. Same with those. But if you had a higher, I'm not high enough level to have uniques that are high level to require this, but if you had a high level unique, you could put that in only for higher tier dungeons. I haven't found any ascendants yet. Ascension. Aww. I need help with the riddle 3, please and thank you. I don't know what they are. We can explore it if you want. I feel like I'm terrible enough with this sort of thing that looking at it is not anything. Lore hunt event start. What is question 3? All right, riddle 3. Brewed in cauldrons for the feast, where fierce warriors stalk the ice. With gore and gut of wild beast, I grant the strength for virtue or vice. Through me warriors find their might, and liquid fire in their veins. To defend lands, to survive the night, their vigor ever reigns. I don't know, man. I mean, it's somewhere up in here, warrior. Gotta be, right? It's probably gonna be divine. It's gonna be up here somewhere. That's not much help. Maybe Champion's Gate. Yeah, is there some like there's those tables with like mugs and stuff on them in Champion's Gate? Maybe there's something there. I don't know. It's up there. It's up there somewhere. I mean, it's kind of obvious, though. I guess I'm really telling you if you don't know with like the background that's here. I hope that helped very slightly more than nothing. Are you going to keep providing us more high-end aspirational content, or is the focus going to shift from next cycle? The next cycle, what do we got here with our where's our roadmap? Last Epoch roadmap. Here we go. Let's just take a little snap out of number 2. Check it out. This is cycle 1.2. This is all the info we have out. There's no other info other than this available, and I can't spoil anything else other than this. But so Primal Hunt endgame events. This is going to be like endgame content, as it says right there in it. You know, so big surprise. So there's endgame content there. This is an entire story chapter, which is whenever we do story chapters, there's a lot of things you may notice that we take from story chapters and weave them into the end game. And so I'm sure we'll take some of these things that we're creating for this story chapter and weaving them into the end game as well. And these are going to be sweet too. Primordial uniques will we'll shake things up again itemization wise, which I know I'm saying literally nothing, so it's exactly what it sounds like is gonna happening from those things. But yeah, so there is endgame content coming with that patch that is going to be quite fun, and I'm trying really hard to dance around it without saying anything about it. I do know what that's gonna be. It'll be fun for the whole family. Even little Timmy that just entered an esports league. All right, more questions. Don't forget to put that before your name so I see it. Yes, if you have a question, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question, and I will answer it, or do my best at least. What is the highest amount of tiers a piece of equipment can have in the Nemesis system? I don't know if there is a maximum. I think theoretically it's 7s across the board. I think that's like the theoretical limit, but like it'll never happen, ever. Like there's just no way. Sorry. All right. Any optimistic ETA on the next roadmap update? The next roadmap update. So we're gonna do roadmap updates every other cycle, and we'll add it on that way. So because like the next roadmap is the roadmap content that's there is still relevant, for next cycle. So we don't need to update it for that. But if you want to, like when you want to look outwards past 1.4. That won't be available until after 1.2. Which I think we did say that in the when we first announced the roadmap. So like if you go to the forums and you look at the roadmap post, I'm pretty sure that's the schedule that the roadmap post lays out for roadmap updates. When we pop our shields, we get a bunch of stats. And then they start healing us and we get more stats. Which is nice. But I am having mana problems right now. That might have been a shield to look at. I mean, so it's well, actually that base block of weakness is so much nicer. Does have more damage though. Let's try and craft on it. Let's see what happens. It's not gonna. We can't even get that off. We could try removal, and just hope we get reflected and hope we hope we get anything other than this health. It moved up and scared me. Oh, we lost it. Yeah, it's done. It was worth a shot. It does have more damage.
Stand down or die.
Okay, more questions. Why are dungeons designed to pointlessly waste the player's time? They're not, for the record. Is there a reason in having the barriers to make navigation longer and more annoying? So the dungeon navigation system was our one of the things. Let's go back a couple years. We are preparing for launch. We're about a year out from launch, maybe 2 years out from launch, something like that. And one of the biggest feedback we're getting is that there's no random content in the game. There's no procedural generated content in the game, which technically there still isn't really right now. There's pseudo stuff that we do to kind of like spoof it right now, but it's not really in the game yet. And so we did a few things. We created the dungeons, and when we did that, in order to kind of make them pseudo random, we drop in a fixed template and then drop in the doors. To make it so the path isn't the same every single time. Nice unique note down there. Let's go get that. And then we also did some things with echoes where they have now a random start location, and then added in more things to do in them, more like scenarios like the ambushes and the fake ambushes, and, things like that. So we added in more variety there and some randomness in how that goes about. So when you load it in different spots and all that sort of stuff. None of this is that we've actually properly added real procedural generated content into the game yet, which is something that we are actively working on. And I hope to get, hope that gets in sooner than later, but it's going to be a little while still. Yeah, I think that once we do have that, we're starting those. If you look at the roadmap, it is listed on there for I think 1.34. Oh yes, 3. I'm looking stuff. I'm like, oh no, am I spoiling stuff? Oh no. Yes, 1.3. It says new procedural side zones. Haha, it's already there. I'm not the worst. Well. Yes, new procedural side zones. So yeah, that's gonna be the first time we'll have actual procedural content in the game. Ooh, Nemesis. And like, so like, yeah, and adding in things like we also added in the exiled mages around the same time as the first thing as well. So like trying to add this unexpected content where you go into an echo and you don't know exactly what's going to happen just based on like the layout and where you spawn and which echo it is and what your like reward is and all that sort of stuff. So like we wanted to we want to get this like on the fly interesting decision making happening with the moment to moment gameplay and in game. Can we tank it? No, we can't!
Cannot do that.
Okay. Well, I tried to just tank it, and it did not work. That's, blue filter gone. Oh, wonky. It's alright, though. Yeah, so procedural side zones is something that we are working on for 1.3. And I'm hoping that once we do have that tech developed, we'll be able to extend that out into systems that maybe have used pseudo random stuff, like just dropping in obstacles. Oh, so many of you. Okay. More questions. More questions? Yes, lots more questions. I just want to say I love the game. Thank you. And I especially love the new Nemesis feature. Yeah. I was wondering if there was any potential update on Steam Deck support. Yes, we are working on Steam Deck support. We don't have that little green or whatever color check mark it is yet. It is something that we do intend on getting sooner rather than later. We've seen the interest in a Steam Deck supported build has just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. So we have turned that up in the priority list a bit, and we are working on that. I do not have a specific ETA for you, but once again, I think the goal for that is a 1.1x hotfix timeline. The reason I phrase it as goal is because you never know, something could go wrong because it's not ready yet. But right now we're just satisfying our own quality control requirements for it. So we're closer than we've ever been. What's our necro res? It's 41, not good. Poison 53. You know, I have been pretty decent about resistances. Usually I'm like level 80 and they're still in the 10s. Let's go. Just go, eh, bud? Oh, yeah. Alright, I tried playing with a friend online. My friend's gaming computer is only 2 years old. The game uses up 90% of the RAM. My question is, how are you handling the issue of memory leaks? I mean, if we get reports of memory leaks, of anything else, using the in-game tool, it gives us a ton of data. We get the system logs, the player logs, the server logs. We get all sorts of logs that really help a lot. And most of the time, it's just finding out where it is that's the hard part. Yeah, so just if you've got a problem, make a bug report in game and give us all the data, and we'll try and fix it. Will Cycle 1 lead directly into Cycle 2? How long is Cycle 1 slated for? Cycle 1 is slated for roughly 3 to 4 months long. and will flow directly into cycle 2. Technically I think this is cycle 2. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This cycle will take 3 to 4 months and will flow directly into the next cycle. There we go. Let's just avoid using numbers altogether. Who needs them? Yeep. Will this get its... it doesn't have a list here. I'm not sure the damage on Shield Rush actually is like doing anything anymore. Like we're seeing 1400 non-crits on Shield Bash. Yeah. It's tough. It's just there thematically at this point, I think. Alright. Sometimes when I'm looking for my stuff in my vault to put in the egg, I get attacked. Any plans for an immunity timer when using the Nemesis window? No. I don't think so. But if you have a suggestion and you'd like us to consider it, please head on over to our forums. Or our suggestions, specifically the suggestions channel on our Discord as well. Thank you for Cycle 1.1 and having a great time. Awesome. Missed the announcement like that. Having PoE when someone defeats a boss or dies. Will that be in the next cycle? It actually is in now. It's just in a really limited version. And we are going to start using it for more and more things going forward. Oh yeah, I need to throw you on the ground out of disgust and shame. Is our shield we failed crafting with earlier? Can you get rolls on items so that all stats are high, or will there always be a lower scaled roll stat as a compromise? No. There's no each roll on an item is completely independent of every other roll on that item. If you roll perfectly on the first stat, it does not affect the roll on the next stat at all in any way. As I'm saying that, there are a couple exceptions actually. Some unique items have mods that are tied to each other, so they always roll the same. Just kind of the opposite of what you're asking if it exists, but there is some things that do cause them to be linked to each other. What's Last Epoch's stance on the drastic power difference between classes and builds? I mean, no matter what, and like as soon as you get into a system that is more complex than everything does 1 damage, there's going to be a setup where something does a lot more damage than something else. You know, like that is going to happen. I think the power gap between the like the random build and the min-max build, I think the power gap there is much smaller than it was last patch. And we're going to keep working to reduce that gap again more and more. But like the goal, just to be clear, the goal is not to eliminate that gap. The goal is to keep that gap reasonable. Dump some other random stuff. Should I just sell most of this actually? Shatter some of it. Oh, we got a Temple Sanctum key. We got a Temple Sanctum key. Yeah, it's got some good stuff to shatter. Shatter, shatter. Ah, it's just a bunch of crit stuff on these to shatter.
Yes. Take care.
I will. Thank you. Yeah. More damage. Should we come to healing or armor? I like this because it does heal our manifested armor as well. More damage? More damage. I heard you like more damage. Wow, we did not. I must have lost a point at some point, and because this is a 4 of 4 that's off the route and not connected to anything, it was taken out of there, and I forgot to put it back in. Interesting. That's a lot more damage for us. I was noticing our mana was holding better than I was last night, so that might have been why. All right, more questions. Any plans to add a 4th spell to Shaman since they only have 3? I think they have 4, but yes, we'd add a 5th. Pretty sure they have 4. They must. Right. They're down 2. Like this is 4. Like the mastery one counts. Maybe that's all it is. Yeah. We don't have a hard fast rule that every class has to have the same number of skills to it. However, when we do start adding new skills back into our pipeline, we are planning on. I think the earlier ones you'll start to see are ones on classes that have less than others. I think that's a natural place for us to start. Almost all of those slots have already fixed abilities on what is going to be. One of the rogue ones doesn't, but basically everything else does have. We've already decided what we're going to put there, and that's like half the battle sometimes. Not actually half, but it's not insignificant. A fair few things happening here. More questions. Any news on Steam Deck integration? I just talked about this a little bit earlier. If you are, it looks like you might be having a little bit of problems with it. There are people who are playing really smoothly on Steam Deck right now. So if you are struggling with Steam Deck, my advice is to go and check out the Ask the Community channel on our Discord. Go ask the subreddit. There's lots of people that I know hang out in both those places that will be able to help you get it up and running smooth. There's specific settings and specific tools you can use that are apparently pretty common on the Steam Deck. I don't have one, so I never remember exactly what the names of everything is that they use, but I think there's a pretty well kind of like known setup until as a stopgap until we actually get the official support out. We are working on. Don't forget to put I'll mention it again. If you have a question for me, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question, or I will skip over it because I'm just that bad. I'm dastardly. What was the goal again for months between each cycle? Just like the quantity, 3 to 4. So there's a little insight into the how it's made, so to speak. The the lead up to 1.0 was all anyone's working on is 1.0 pretty well completely, just like 1.0 stuff, 1.0 stuff, 1.0 stuff. Then as we started working on 1.1 dropped, released, great, it's out. There's a few weeks of like panic hot fixes that happened. and then we settled in for the 1.1 development cycle. And we've started to we're in the process of trying to develop forward a little bit more now. So we've started some projects for 1.2, 1.3. We just kicked off a project for 1.4. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to start to see the as we kind of get into this groove of every 3 to 4 months getting a patch cycle out, it's gonna calm down, smooth out, feel really natural. It's just we're getting back into the groove of things because we spent a couple years doing it like that already, where we were looking forward to future patches. And now we've got better systems in place to do that. So we're going to start to see, I think, better quality content coming out as well, because we're going to have a bigger lead time and refining time for that as well. So really just stuff's going well. And we're improving upon our processes. Because there's not the 1.0 patch looming anymore. Yeah, for the first time in a while, we're working ahead, which is great. Is there a plan to make Nemesis appear in every monolith? No. We do have plans to increase the rate that they do show up at, but every monolith is more than we're considering right now. As always, if you have feedback or suggestions you'd like us to consider, please use the appropriate forums. As telling me is great, but almost never actually gets anything done. Telling me I do stuff, but just telling me doesn't do it. Never mind. Moving on. How about a Nem locator after mono completion? Sometimes they're off the beaten track, and many we miss them. Yeah, there's an issue with, so when you get close to one, close-ish, it does tell you that you're close to one, but doesn't really tell you which direction you're close in and all that sort of stuff. And so the minimap icon takes a while before it will show up, even at that point. And I think we've made it so that the distance that the minimap icon shows up at and the distance that you get that message at are the same distance, so you are able to find it easy. So kinda. Since we now have an X shield, yeah, it's so cool. I'm looking for it. Will we be seeing other weapon type shields in the future, like a sword shield, for example? Maybe. It's a it's a first thing of its type. I really hope that we can convert this to be instead of the way it is, convert this to be that there's a way to equip shields in the main hand, or that there's a new subtype that's like main hand shield or something like that, depending on how we have to do it for balancing purposes, because there's some situations where 2 of the same shield just doesn't work because we have design shields, knowing that can never happen. So that we'd either have to like change the way some shields work, or we'd have to make it so that there's the number, the shields that could specifically go in any slot are restricted. So whether that's by items that are actually another type that look like a shield, or it's a main hand shield, or by modifying the shields that are problematic if you have 2 of them equipped. I don't know what's going to happen yet, but I think it's a popular enough mechanic that it's something that we'll at least like look at expanding in the future. Yeah, this is the one we want, right? Gotta be. Yeah, this is definitely it. It's gotta be. I'm like second guessing myself so hard. Like this is what I've been working towards this whole time, isn't it? Actually, not bad. The one that I'm wearing is what came out of my first mid to late campaign nemesis. Ooh, we're almost there. Almost there. This is a decent pace, an hour for monolith, for a first monolith on a crappy build that I actually was working out myself. This is the problem, is I don't put any thought, like forethought into these builds. Is it's just like, I'm gonna take stuff that looks cool and shiny. More questions. That's what I'm doing. This is the problem I have. It's a really great problem to have. Is that I just get stuck playing the game and kind of forget that I'm supposed to be doing other things too. So sorry. All right. Are you going to keep Nemesis system for future cycles? Yes. And yes, will Nemesis spawn more often? Yes, but not every single one. Currently is not the plan. But yes, the stuff that we've got in development right now primarily is designed at being long-term standard legacy content right out of the gate. We're not quite at a point yet with the amount of content that we have in Last Epoch where we can afford to develop interesting systems and content and not keep it around, you know. I think that's a luxury afforded to games that have a little bit more stuff that they can that's fun to do. But yeah, if a feature was, let's say hypothetically the Primal Hunt stuff goes horribly wrong, it won't. But let's say hypothetically it does, and everyone's like, we hate this, we don't even want it in the game. I mean, that we'll look at removing it, but the plan is for everything to be there and stick around. Hey, I have a question. Wonderful. I have an answer, I hope. Rune of Shaping says it rerolls all the implicits, but it only rerolls the implicit values. Yes. That is true. I assume the question is, hey, I thought it was supposed to change the implicits to something new, but it doesn't. What gives? That's how it works. The way implicits work in Last Epoch, they can't really be changed on an item. So, like a rusted cleaver always has melee damage and bleed on hit. It can be, the rolls can be varied, but it always has those two stats. If there was an item that didn't have those two stats, it would not be that base item. So changing what the implicits are, like what mods the implicits represent, it means changing the base type. We had a really late in the patch cycle bug where only one type of gate would spawn here. Oh. Very glad got that fixed. Hello, any team members of EHG up to defeat Aberoth in a hardcore ladder secretly? Well, so Carve was he ripped at second place in the hardcore level ladder on like day 2. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back on his way up there. New item. I do love this portal. Oh, we got our shark helm. I never put it on. Didn't I? Yes, shark helm. There we go. You know who this reminds me of? It is Johnny from Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Johnny? The shipwreck, the boss of the shipwreck. That's what this reminds me of. Lang, welcome and all your viewers. Thank you for the raid. Glad to have you with us. Oh, let's get we want both of those. Let's go this way for this one first. Oh, we have enough stability, but there's two unique ones there. DMs. Oh, we've got a request here to mention. There's some specific things on Steam Deck that I'm allowed to talk about, which is great. So some of those things are so there's lots of things that haven't made it in yet. I hope I was clear on that earlier. But yes, there's more stuff we're working on, including UI scaling, which is in the pipeline, and a bunch of other things too that are rolling. So we will be seeing improvements on Steam Deck coming down the pipe, including UI scaling, which is something that gets asked for a lot. That's not just for Steam Deck as well. That's something that we are working on for everything. So there have been some UI, like different resolutions you're playing on. I think it'll help for playing on a couch as well, which is something that people have been asking for a while. If you've got like a media center build. Also, some gamepad quality of life improvements that are going to be deployed in regular release this cycle. Any panels that aren't interactable, and some targeting improvements. Any panels, and just navigation in general, smoothing stuff for controller. So there are updates coming out for controller in general, any platform that needs UI scaling, and also other things for just Steam Deck as well. And both those things help Steam Deck as well. So yeah, lots of cool stuff that's in the pipe. I never know how much I'm allowed to actually give away on what's coming, but yes, exciting stuff there. Thanks, Kane. Appreciate you. All right, more questions. Are you going to keep Nemesis System in future cycles? Yes, we will be keeping Nemesis System in for future cycles. Any chance to look at the node Time Legion? It doesn't apply Time Rot, even max out. Is it a bug or what? Probably. If a node is not doing what it says it's supposed to do, that's a paddling. Oh wait, that's a bug. And if you use the in-game tool to report it, right there, bug report, the best. Time Legion, that's probably in Legion? Time Legion. Time Rot chance. Your melee attacks have a chance to inflict enemies with Time Rot. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I would just make sure that you are using a melee ability, because this does reference melee attacks, storing attacks, and void spells for the echo chance, but the Time Rot chance itself is only for melee abilities, melee attacks. So like Vengeance, Rive, Multi-Strike, Shield Rush, Void Cleave, Shield Bash, Lunge, Racing Strike, Forge Strike, Smelter's Wrath, Healing Hands when it gets turned to melee ability, Judgment. Yeah, just those. And basic attack. But yeah, if you are using one of those with that and you're not getting any Time Rot, then yeah, it's a bug. Right, is the team disappointed with the max of 70,000 concurrent players from 230,000 from launch? No, I think I think you're always going to see a much bigger spike on a 1.0 launch. I think also days of the week had a big impact to do with it, and there's other things going on at the same time that are still deflecting people's attention a little bit, I would say. I haven't looked at today. I'm hoping to see a little bit higher today or tomorrow, even when it's weekend. I think we've proven a stable launch is possible, which is great. I think once we've worked out some of even the kinks that happen with the cycle rollover this time, that'll be better next time as well. I think we'll see numbers go up. I try so hard to just avoid numbers. I have no idea what the player count is today. Oh, I have no idea what it was yesterday. I have no idea what it was the day before that. And I really go off feel a lot. So like, just like the questions that are coming in the Ask Des channel in Discord, the things you see in like Reddit and Facebook and not really Facebook anymore, but like YouTube videos that are showing up, things like that. That's what I go off of, and I've been really happy with that. All right. Any chance to add a glyph or rune that replaces all affixes on an item with a random one? I mean, we do have that now, actually. It's just like a bunch of runes. We have that in the form of 5 runes. So maybe. If you do have a suggestion that you'd like us to consider, please head on over to the forums or our Discord and leave it there. In general, adding more it's a nice base, actually. Adding more crafting materials. Lone Star McFluffin, welcome. How are you doing? Did you get it? Did you get the kill? I've been a little busy today. Not live on chat. Oh, I want to scroll down and see. Congrats if you did. Future congrats if you didn't. Because I believe in you. Didn't tag, but your message is several above. I'm sorry, I'm not scrolling up for it. You gotta re-ask it, Lorenz. In general, with adding new glyphs and runes, it's a really tricky thing to do. So we've had tons of debates on specific runes and glyphs that we're trying to add, things like that. It is quite surprising how many little things can derail a really good idea for a glyph or a rune.
I cannot do that.
I do like that I'm getting these like random Ring of Shields that show up. I would like a better pair of gloves. You're using these. Mike, why do you willingly have screen shake enabled when shield bashing triggers it? I don't know, I like it. If it's really bothering people, I can turn it off. Turn it off. I'll turn it off, people. Screen shake. I don't even know where screen shake is. Screen shake down here. Oh, if you're heavy only, does it do it still? There, okay, heavy only. How about that? Halfway. I really like screen shake. I'm a fan. I'm a weirdo. I'm fine with that. Any thoughts on character-specific key bindings? With the new evade button, some builds want to utilize, but others replace it with a specialized traversal skill, and it would be nice to, for my reflexes, to hit the same button across different tunes. That's a cool idea. We don't have any plans for that. Drop it in the suggestions places. Maybe compasses? No, not sure where compasses would go. I feel like that was in response to a conversation I was having earlier. I'm sorry, I'm so far behind. I don't know. 2 quality of life changes would be nice. Lots of them would be nice. Make keys stackable. Yep. Working on it. And make crafting components go directly into their own inventory. The extra step of hitting the materials button with the inventory seems redundant, I think. Yeah, there's you guys have heard me say it so many times, I'm not going to say it, but the key stacking thing in general, yes, that is we get that one a lot, and there's no design reason why that's blocked right now. I think I'd like to see keys just go to, and we've talked about sort of joking like the fabled key ring, just having keys go to the key ring would be I think the solution there instead of having them stack. How was this launch compared to the game launch for the team? So much better. There was that first half hour. I was like, I gotta take a quick walk around the block. Someone else is gonna deal with this. I'm not qualified to deal with it. And after that, oh, it was so nice. Like getting to chat with people playing the game, new people that were showing up, old people that were coming back. The like, oh, the difference is night and day. My wife even asked, she was like, the patch did drop, right? Like, you're not super stressed out. What's going on? like it actually did come out, right? Yeah, it's just going well, that's all. First of all, loving the new patch. Thank you very much. Me too. Really enjoying the addition of the dodge roll in the in-game fights. One question I have is if you guys are happy with where melee is regarding these in-game fights. I think overall, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be that debate of which is better, which is worse, all that sort of stuff. And you know, I think we've improved that distinction quite a bit. This patch, it's maybe not perfect, and we'll work to improve it more. The ideal situation is where they're not the same. I know that sounds ridiculous, but having them each have things they're better at is the ideal situation, where you can be, you see like, okay, well, melee characters, like this boss is easier for melee characters, this boss is easier for ranged characters. Like maybe this boss, phase 1 is easier for melee characters and phase 2 is easier for ranged characters. Maybe like, so there's, ooh, that might be a good helmet. That might be a good helmet. Ooh, +3 ring of shields. Not a ton of forging potential on it, but good. Good. That's solid. We're gonna use that. We are going to use that. I'm going to craft on it first. What are we losing on our helmet? Is there crit avoidance? There's crit avoidance there. We have some here, though. No, there's a pair of gloves I was working on that I failed that had crit avoidance. That's what it was. We could just replace our chest. We're coming up on it. We're just full crit avoidance and just deal with it. So many enemies. Just chill in a rebuke for a little bit.
Stand down or die.
Keep moving.
I cannot do that.
Charge! Alright, next question. Have you guys thought about adding a new rune that changes an item to have 3 prefixes and 1 suffix? Ah! Yes, we have. I haven't seen that suggestion from the community before. I don't think I may have. That's why I smiled. But I do think it's a cool idea. There's a lot of stuff that kind of just assumes certain prefix and suffix counts. Like this UI. Oh, don't drop that, please. So there is like this. I guess this is a perfect example of like stuff you don't expect to throw a wrench in the works of a perfectly good rune or glyph idea. Like this UI just crumbles as soon as you do that, you know? So we've maybe. Let's shatter that. Why not? Nice shatter target. Shatter target. Mana potions. I do like mana potions. Health shard. Nice. Oh, right. We do something with this helmet. Cool stuff. I like cool stuff. Do you like cool stuff? Cool. Oh, it's a nice throwing one, actually. Let's just stash that. Yeah. One interesting thing, if an item only has one affix type, it is guaranteed to get at least one shard of that. So if you're like, okay, I need the shards from this new shatter, you're going to for sure get one crit chance shard no matter what. I got one, but 2 that time, 4 that time. So yeah, the single affix items are nice because you are guaranteed the affix from the shatter if it's something you know you want. Little tips. Maybe compasses for mapping. Maybe. Are you going to keep Nemesis system for future cycles? Yes. I feel like I've answered this a bunch of times. It looks like the same question over and over again. I have a question regarding autocasting. Yes, a lot of people use keyboard without numpad. Yes. There are complicated workarounds to make it work, but do you think it's possible to get this feature into the game without keyboard combos? This is an interesting thing because this isn't actually a feature that we really plan to incorporate into the game. It's not something that we sat down and said, "Hey, what do we think our gameplay loop needs?" Is, "Hey, does it need this feature?" No, we didn't think that. So it's a little tricky of a situation. I want to seal that armor, but we don't have any of them. It's okay. We'll see what we can put on here. Probably just strength, right? Except we're not high enough level to even put just straight strength on it. That's funny. Is it just better though? Like there's so much strength, vitality, health, like so much there. We'll roll with it and see what happens. What are we doing here? So this is as far as I planned, actually. Oh no. What do we do next? Additional shields. Slow retaliation chance is nice. Push with the charge. That would be interesting. Get everything out of the way. Ooh, last longer. We probably want that, actually. Yeah, I'm going to stick around with last longer. Let's go. Let's go. Will the die system work with MTX? I don't know. I hope so. I don't know. That's a good question. We're pretty far out from that. I really hope so. Did our attack speed just spike or something? Feels like we're attacking faster. Don't know why. Sorry, I was talking, I got distracted with crafting. Auto casting without a numpad. Yeah, it's interesting. So because it's not a system that we've actually designed for the game, and it's just something that like people have a way of like a hardware solution to do. It's tough for us to decide if we want to make it or not be an official part of the game. It's become ubiquitous enough that it's hard to ignore it. But putting it in the game kind of puts this expectation that things are balanced around it. So it's tricky to decide if we want to put it in there, because it's as soon as we put it in officially, we're saying like we're expecting you to use this mechanic, and we're not expecting you to use this mechanic right now. So it's in the maybe bin still at best. Could you change up Bone Prison? Maybe if you drop a suggestion. I'll read the rest of your comment though in a sec here, because that's a big horde. Love it. You're finding it quite annoying because you can't pass through it. Yes. If you ever played Diablo 2 and you get a bone necro would join the party, you're trying to do like a bail run, and there's suddenly these prisons everywhere, and everyone who's not a Sork or has Enigma is just like hooped. And there's that one random barb that's like, haha, finally leap is useful, let me just put it on my bar. Let's read the rest of this comment though, because I definitely stopped halfway through again. Sorry. Can't teleport through it. The Acolyte skill is also weird rubber banding around it. Thanks for supporting the Trevor Project. You're welcome. Cool. I think there are some. I think it sounds like there's might be a bug that's with it, so it's possibly not giving you the exact experience that it's designed to do. Which would just, yes, we'll fix bugs is the answer to that. Is that like, yeah, I don't really care about that. This boss time. I think you should be able to teleport through it. I think that's not being able to teleport through it might be expected, but personally, if I was gonna be asked, should just like theoretically, should you be able to? I would say yes, you should be able to theoretically. Because yeah, especially being able to. Me reminiscing about how Bone Prisons worked in Diablo 2 was not a suggestion of how they should work ideally. Was more of a, back in the day I remember how it's always worked. Come on over here, buddy. Alright, we got him. More questions. Oh, scroll too far. I think it would be good to have information about the presences of a larger range about something. There a chance that something like this would appear this cycle. think it would be very good to have information about the presence from a larger range about star. There are a chance that something like this would appear in the cycle. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Trying to die here. I don't understand. Please ask again. Keyring when? Also I-ring. Yeah, just like a tab. I'd almost like to see like a tab in this, where it's just like keys and eyes and like other little like baubles and trinkets that like deal with cycle mechanic type things, and you know, just to keep them all organized. I think that would be really positive. Fissure makes me lag fast. Sorry. Drop a bug report. Will the content of each cycle be integrated into the core games? Yes. This is something that we have planned for the first 2 cycles. You know, it depends how the feedback from the systems are. That will ultimately determine it right now. If something goes horribly wrong, maybe not. But we do plan to incorporate everything into the like legacy version, which it already is by default right now. So it's already being incorporated. Maintaining 2 separate versions of the game is kind of intimidating for us at the moment, which we don't really want to do. This is part of the reason why we're just incorporating everything. We also think that there's just room for more core content in the game still before it becomes a little bit overwhelming for new players especially. So we want that those new things that we're adding right now, like in 1.2, the Primal Hunt stuff, the next chapter, all that stuff is like it's key for new and returning players, and it's like it's the same way that the Nemesis system is key for new and returning players, and like I think it's really important that we have these, like, getting this core systems fleshed out and like, yeah. Do we go with experience? Unique drop rate. I mean, even worst possible roll. That's just like what you take, right? Love it. Love it. So yeah, do we just slap this on and go 100% crit strike avoidance? We get leech stuff in, yada yada yada. I can basically take these boots off and slap something else on. I think we do that. I think we upgrade our boots and just wear this. There's good stuff there, but nothing to write home about. Okay, let's find some boots. We'll do an echo and then just get to our stash that way. Why are shields and barriers added to some mobs and bosses? Also, I feel like I rarely see the league mechanic. Is it random, or what's the percentage? It is random. I do not know what the percentage is. As for shields, do you mean like the ward that shows up at the top now? We've got a big blog post about that, so I'd redirect you there to read it all the details in full on our forums. Just gotta say, amazing job with the game. Thank you. Last played 0.8. Ooh, yeah, lots changed since then. Stunning job with all you've done. Yeah, thank you. It looks like a completely different game since 0.8. My goodness. That's hilarious. It pushed me and I was clicking it and it picked up the item as it pushed me. I'm like, I wanted to pick it up anyway, so that's sweet. 60. We can slap an affix on that helmet now. A little bit of strength. Low roll, that's okay.
I cannot.
Ah. Sometimes I like jump the gun on doing a shield rush because it's not up yet, and then it starts after I've given up on it starting. It just does a little meh. All right. Do I need to tag me? Yes. Do you have news on Italian language? I do not have news on Italian language. Ooh, a 2 LP. Made that last league, so I'm not gonna do it again. But cool. Do I have news on Italian language? I do not. We are working on improving the localization that we have. We are working on new languages. We are it's a big thing. We are working on it. It's very important to us. We just added Japanese. There was a big update to a couple other languages as well recently. You can tell I didn't work on that because I don't know which languages it was. I want to say Chinese and Korean, question mark? But yes, we are. That is very, very much actively in development. We are working on improving localization. It's because it's like really when it boils down to it, it's an accessibility feature, and it's one of the most important ones because it has one of the biggest reaches. That's nice. That's really nice. I know it's easy. It's just my first 2 LP item this league, this cycle. If we were using volatile reversal there, we should be. Big damage buff. Any plans to add iframes to the dodge roll? Which I really like, by the way. We do not have plans to add iframes to it. It's one of those things we're really happy with where it's sitting. It's working really well. If we start getting feedback that people want iframes on it, or like want different things out of it, then we'll start looking at options there. Do I have anything that I could go make a decent item out of? Not really. I mean that, but I kind of want to go do Temporal Sanctum, and I don't want to have nothing to show for it. Great multi would be nice to grab, but nah. Some glyphs. Is it intended that Nemesis mobs can seal T5, T6, or T7 even? Yes, it is. Because we can't see higher than T5 ourselves. So I was wondering if this was intended. It is intended. It's actually in the dev blog post where we announced the feature, the whole Nemesis feature. So it does literally say right there, like, this means you can do things that you can't do anywhere else. So yes, it is definitely intended. Got some potential. Alright. How to stop spawning harbingers. I can only choose normal monoliths or 100 monos. Yeah, if you've... you can go down to lower ranked stuff or to ones you've already done in the past. I don't know, once you've already done will still spawn. If you go to lower corruption, it will work. It's a lot of strength. Our build does love strength. Loves it. Can you play Acid Flask and suffer so we can get some love next cycle? I was playing Acid Flask last cycle. Nah, switch up. I'd love for evade charges to be more visible, either just their cooldown or the amount you have up. Yeah, these little dots not doing it for you. Yeah, I think that's valid feedback. Just head on over to our forums. I'd love to see I'd love to see options for more things placed like on your character or something like that. Like a little like some setting that's like show cooldown, like show charges for ability in slot 3. You know, it just like sits there. It's like it's a little dot under your name or something. It doesn't have to be very exhaustive feature, but just like every once in a while, it's nice to have a little bit of a quick, hey, this is on cooldown or not, look. Alright, any plans for different endgame content, not monoliths? I do like monoliths, but it'd be cool to have more stuff to choose from. Yeah. The short answer is yes. Slightly longer answer is I mean, like, so we do have some already that are other systems. I think fleshing out the options we do have will probably happen a little bit before adding in new ones. I think there's still room to grow with the monolith and room to grow with dungeons, and you know, having those things, fleshing those things out, I think there can be more impactful. Like the bang for your buck is better on improving those right now. In general. Yeah, Firestar Torch, no LP though, right? Ah. Such a fantastic, because it's so easy to get LP on it. Such a fantastic starting weapon for like every class. It's great. Nom. I want those glyphs. Runes? Do we do runes? There's a unique down here. Let's go with that unique. Are you guys fine with abusing Nemesis system? No. I mean, teleport in and out of a zone until it appears. No, I think that existing in and of itself is fine for the most part. However, anytime there's a system in the game which presents a optimal path that is not fun to play, that's what we're leery of. So, if we're looking at the system and we go like, hey, going in and out of the zone, lull the zone over and over again is technically the best way to interact with the Nemesis system, it's the most efficient way, it means that you're going to get to a point where people are just doing that for hours, and that's boring. Running in and out of a zone with no challenge is
Cannot do that.
not fun. Not to mention bad for the servers. Like, constantly spinning up new servers is just expensive. So I think it's much better for everyone, including the players and us, if that's not the most efficient way to do things, essentially. So how if that becomes the most efficient way to do things, how we change that, I don't know yet. There's lots of different options, because we don't want to prevent people who are going through the systems in earnest, where they're leveling, to run into that as like if we do something to make that not work. Like the really naive option is just like, well, the nemesis doesn't spawn until the monolith. It doesn't happen in the campaign. Okay, well that sucks, because it's a huge awesome thing in the campaign, right? So not doing that, obviously. There's a lot of different ways to tackle a problem like that, and sometimes it's not always just one thing. Sometimes it's multiple things we can do as well. So like maybe it's changing something with how the nemesis interacts with the campaign, and changing something with how the nemesis interacts with the end game. So it's just becomes more efficient later. And so the time you're spending in a normal zone playing and getting nemesis that way is better overall, because you're also getting other stuff at the same time.
I cannot do that.
Haste buff, haste buff, love haste buff.
Cannot do that.
We have 11 ring of shields right now. Alright, more questions. When we get skill cosmetics, can we please get different looks for druid transforms? Druid transforms are skills and are slated to get skill cosmetics just like every other skill. What those are gonna be specifically, I have no idea yet. I do know that that is some of the most excitedly brainstormed abilities for MTX that we have. So I really hope to see some cool stuff there. It is at the same time like time investment to actually implement very high. So I think we'll see a higher quantity of cosmetic MTX, at least early, for abilities along the lines of like Fireball and Rive. You know, like those are so much easier to develop MTX for than bear form. You know? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get some in because they're so cool. All right. I can imagine. Oh, this is a response to someone else. If you want to see the message, though, you have to tag them. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I can try and see what that was. It doesn't let me click on what the reply was for, so I can't just like jump back up to it. I'm sorry. If people are asking questions that I'm missing, I'm really sorry. You have to put at Last Epoch game in the question. I should say this more often because I can see people coming in and out. So if you want me to answer the question, you need to put at Last Epoch game in the question, so I see it stands out and I can pick it out. I'm pretty far behind as well, I'm pretty sure, so I may just also have not have gotten to your question yet. Trying to find it. Sounds like there was a bug issue or something. Looks like someone was helping him. If you need support, we have a support site with lovely support people. Be happy to help you as well. Any plans for Nagasa character or shapeshift? Good question. This is a cool. This is a player character visuals of a Nagasa character. So like looking like a shapeshift either into that form, maybe through an MTX, or possibly like a character class or like character customization or something like that. You know, there's all sorts of things that are on the table. Maybe. I'll add a personal I hope so as well. Because I do think it's a really cool idea. Holy, called out, shots fired. Uh-oh, did I say something bad? Didn't mean to. I got a little too sassy there. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to. I also have no idea what it's talking about, so. Oh, looks like it was Derek. Haha, not me. All right, I'm in the clear, everybody. No problems. Have you thought about the vendor having a shatter all items function? Yeah, we've talked about that a few times. There's this delicate balance of items you pick up, items you bring back to town, how frequently you're coming back to town, and especially with well, in Echoes, which is like the primary endgame loop right now. If you leave, you can't come back. So we're really not trying to incentivize people from picking up like every item. We're really more trying to incentivize people picking up the best items. And I think that if we were to do some sort of like unlimited shatter system at an NPC, it would probably be gold driven. And this is hypothetical. This is not planned, but if we were going to do it, I expect that we would probably do some sort of gold driven, where it's like you got to pay gold to do the shatter, which is essentially the same as now because you can buy shattering runes there, but there's a limit to them. But if it was an unlimited version, like a lesser shattering zone that never ran out or something like that, or just like an event or like a forge you go to and shatter, so something along those lines, we could do it in town. It happens no matter what. I think it would have to be less efficient at shattering. So like, you know, if a T20 item on a shattering stone averages X number of shards, then the lesser version would average, I don't know, 0.7x shards or something like that. So it would be like 30% less or something. I don't know, just some reduced rate where where you weren't getting quite everything or something like that from it. I think would be how you'd have to do it. To avoid having a just like that pick up everything mentality, because you're still having to pay gold for it, which is still useful. So there's that cost there. And then if they're less efficient, you're not just picking everything up, because you're like, well, great, okay, I'm gonna get like one shard from this random item that has no shards that are really useful, so you don't pick everything up. You gotta. We need some mana. We need some mana regen. We need some flat mana. We need some stuff with our mana. It's not great right now. Is there stuff here? A nice one to have.
Too heavy.
You know what I should do? Mana. It's too high. Wrong thing. Already got it. No. Let's return on 0. Yeah, on those. We're not using those. Yeah, we're looking at items. We're looking at idols. We're looking at blessings.
Yes.
Because if you think about it right now, when you come back from an echo, you talk to her, and there's like 6 or 7 of those things. So like you kind of get 6 or 7 shatters each time you come back right now. And it's a decent. I think that's got potential. Give me those strength. Give me that strength. I want all the strength shards. I want them. Sure, give me a health shard. Like those random one-offs where you're like, yeah, I'll just take one. Sure, that's the sort of thing that I think would be perfect for a system like that. Our cold res is bad. We're gonna put this here.
Yes. Take care.
More questions. Is there an intent to go back to classes like Sorcerer, Spellblade, or Lich that are reliant on skills that the community commonly toggles on using a scroll lock bind? Yeah, I think we have been trying to make that less of a clear best choice. I think less of a like, all right, well, which skill am I going to numlock here on this build? Just getting it so that there's if you're doing that, there's some intentionality behind it, and you're likely giving up some something to do that. Oh, this one thinks I'm a Void Knight. Mana gloves. In health, strength. I don't think any of that's going to turn to really good. I'm just going to challenge it. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. That was really close.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Why did the Nemesis egg roll bad stats around Omni, Red Ring, and Event Horizon? You got all 3 of those already? Whoa. But on a more serious note, Eberroth isn't really intended to ever be killed by melee auto attack builds, is he? I mean, yeah, there's I mean, like basic attack, no. But I assume you more mean like Rive or Swipe and things like that. It will definitely see kills from those for sure. And just for the record, the super high level items like Omni, Red Ring, and Event Horizon will roll fewer stats, will roll less LP in general, like just on average, you know, things like that. So it does follow similar rules for legendary creation as you would find through normal legendary process. Like,
I cannot do
yeah,
that.
and you get you do get legendary stats more frequently than you get actually legendary potential. Could we see more Harbinger types in future expansions? It's definitely possible. I think we'll be. I think we'll be focusing on other features first, other systems first, before going back to expanding old ones. But yes, that's the sort of thing that we would go back and add more to. Yeah, because right now there's just really the 2 types of Harbingers that like get mechanical differences based on the boss you killed, but the base versions don't change up much. Kids are having a fight in chat. All right. How was your 4th of July? Well, I'm not an American, and I don't live in the States, so it was fine. I worked. I had a great day. It was very sunny. I I think we had a barbecue just because it was a great day. But my July 1st, Canada Day, was also exactly the same because I was working for the patch. But it was quite lovely as well. Also at a barbecue. Oh my goodness. Am I an hour behind? There's 800 people here. Hi, everybody. This is a little more than I'm used to. Glad to have you all here. It has been fantastic. We are getting kind of close to the end of the stream. I will push a little bit deeper because we are so far behind in questions. Yeah. Have you considered improving the build diversity of Gathering Storm by moving the 1 melee damage per strength node outside the physical damage conversion lock so that it can be used for cold and lightning builds as well? Maybe, I'm not sure. Put your suggestions in the forums, please. Hey, hope you're beating the heat today. It's actually, my office is in a basement, so it's not that bad. It's real hot though. Lots of water. Just got a big supporter pack. Woo! Thank you. Very nice. Fits me going as a Void Knight. What do you think of Warpath versus Warpath VR Void Cleave as traversal for Void Knights like that? I think I've seen several builds like that with different twists, and they seem very fun to me. I love Warpath. Every time I make a new character, I have to convince myself not to make a Warpath character because I just like I played so much Barbarian in D2, and like it just feels I don't know. There's something about it that's calming, and it feels right. Like I can't imagine releasing or even playing that much of like any game in this style that doesn't have a Warpath like ability. Like, whoa. I got cocky. I'm like, I'm so strong. Fire, no problem. Whoops. I'm realizing that, like, as I'm saying this, there's probably some game that's very recently come out that is a fantastic game that doesn't have that. I just accidentally was like, haha, didn't mean it that way. I just love Warpath. Oh, Judd and chat. Lots of stuff here. That's how far behind I am. Hey, still loving everything about the game, but there's a particular stash issue. Yeah, there's a couple stash issues still. Yeah, if you see you already reported, there's nothing I can do to help you. I'm sorry. I'll finish reading the question, but there is not I can do for you right now. I'm sorry. You have a small clip showing some of the problems. Yeah. Yeah, if you're getting weird rollbacks in offline, it's most likely due to third-party software that is either like locking the right permissions on the folder that it's in, so you can like you can move the folder that so you can't move the folder that saves happen in because that's static. But if you have something that's like I've seen things like OneDrive cause issues. Not supposed to be troubleshooting stuff in here. What am I doing? Contact support if you need help. Sorry. Hey, still loving everything about the game, but there's it's the same thing. Sorry. Some areas of the game, when using disintegrate, it bugs out and can't hit enemies. Oh no! Leave a bug report, please. There are some. Every once in a while, an invisible wall gets left in still. What's my favorite part about patch 1.1? The Nemesis encounters are like they feel fantastic. I think it's my favorite part of like the actual patch itself. My favorite part of the whole experience in general is just the new people that show up, the old people that come back, the getting to talk to people in Discord, getting to come on here and talk to all of you about it. That's really my favorite part. Always has been, always will be. How do you and the dev team feel about player count this cycle compared to last? Expected to drop? Yes. Disappointing losing such a large chunk, or the reasons for it? I mean, I don't think it is that surprising. I talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't really pay much attention to the numbers because I don't understand what they mean properly, and I more like just to feel things out, and it's felt really nice. I'm in no way concerned at all. I guess that's the best way to put it. There's no like there's absolutely no fear of like, oh, there's not enough players, we might not get the next cycle. No, that's definitely not the case at all. Development is completely secure and moving forward. There's no issue. Easily. Did you had a flashback / PTSD when 1.1 error and the players couldn't play online mode? Yes. Those first couple minutes were terrible for me. But it's so nice that it came together. It's like it was such a tiny little blip. And I'm so glad it didn't linger. So glad it just everything. I know some people are still having issues, and we are working to fix any more issues that some people are having, but like it is such a tiny percentage of players having issues right now that it's great. Any plans to adjust Abroth or make an Uber version? I think there's room for another tier, like an Uber tier of boss. If we're going to talk about like PoE tiers of bosses, like I think there's room for another tier of boss to come in. I think it probably initially wouldn't look like specifically just Abroth. Get some new ones in there. Have some fun with it. Different stuff is good. We'll be able to gift cosmetics in the future to other players. I don't think we have a way of doing that because it's all done through Steam. I don't think we have a way of doing that smoothly, at least right now. How about performance updates? Yeah, there's so yes. Then you've got some. You've had some performance drops yourself. Overall, this update increased performance for players in general. The frame rates went up across the board. Lag's been better. All sorts of things have been way better. We work on it very heavily every patch. I say it's our number one priority is multiplayer performance and multiplayer stability and multiplayer user experience, just like that multiplayer working really fantastic. And our number two priority is stability and frame rate and performance in general for the game. Really, they're kind of just the same thing now, but it is incredibly important, and every major patch comes with significant updates to it. And anyone who's been playing for a couple patches now will be able to clearly see the difference. I mean, you can it's reflected in all sorts of things, like our metrics that we have, the feedback we see on forums and on Reddit and on like Steam reviews and things like that. Like it is very clearly, it sucks that it's there a second time. I really don't need this stuff, I don't think. Move over. Let's get the next one. Yeah. So yeah, it's improving, and we're keeping on improving it. All right. Is there a plan to allow alts to skip more of the campaign, at least not to have to do all the small blessings and just skip to the empowered ones? I mean, yes, that's in now. Like you get your empowered, if you've got empowered blessings on a main, you get your empowered blessings as soon as you've unlocked that of the basic blessings on that timeline. And there's a hardcore has a bug with this right now that I'm working on. As soon as I'm done the stream, I'm going back to working on that bug. Would you ever consider adding a butcher style enemy that invades you like Diablo 4 into the game? Maybe. I think there's kind of a history of a little bit more aggressive is the wrong word, but like that. So how does this in Diablo 2? Like you could full on just like aggro someone and be like, I'm going to attack you now. You better run or leave this game, deal with it, or fight back. You know, like those are your options. And I think that legacy's carried forward a little bit, which I don't hate at all. I'd want to see it in like specific zones, have people like be prepared for it, sort of thing. Yeah, it's a cool idea. No plans for it. All right. So from Judd, I am like an hour behind in questions, I think, because I'm seeing things that happened like an hour ago. Planning to add WASD movement. It's if we can, I think it's on the table. We're still it's still in the maybe category right now. There's a lot of things that go with it. So the key point with WASD to know is that decoupling your targeting direction and your movement direction is a very significant task in our game. Those two things are. There's dozens of scripts and components that run all sorts of things that know that your movement direction and your targeting direction are the same direction at all times in this game right now. As soon as we decouple WASD, or as soon as we decouple those things by adding WASD movement, there's a lot of stuff with the combat that needs to get adjusted and changed and fixed and updated. It's a way bigger thing than it seems, but it's not off the table. More options, more ways to play, in general, is a good thing. We do have to be careful about it, adding a new best way to play, like most powerful, most efficient way to play. Because like if the most efficient way to play was to buy, like, let's just go into hyperbole for a second to prove a point. If like the best way to play was to buy a $10,000 peripheral for your game, that's not exactly something that is healthy for the game, because suddenly anyone who wants to compete has to shell out $10K, which is not what we want at all. That's why that wasn't working, because my hand was one space to the right. Hey, Stormtide, cool. It's one of like the first pairs of boots. Unique ones anyways. You can right click. You can right click on no to instant TP instead of left clicking and clicking enter. I do know that because I'm the one that implemented that. But for whatever reason, I don't do it. But yes, there's a tiny little script sitting on each one of these nodes that detects right clicks. What is your favorite druid form? Bear. Always has been bear. Love the bear. Would love to have shatter all items in inventory function even with the vendor just the forge. Yeah, it's possible with the forge too. It would probably be with the forge if we were going to do it. We've talked about this a few times. How do you plan to deal with power creep as more seasons roll in over time? Well, I mean, through a dozen different little things. It's gonna happen. It's one of those things that it's inevitable to slowly happen as we go. It is something that we are being very careful and mindful of. We really don't want to be in a situation where we are putting letters behind the numbers, like a B, a T, a S, an SE. You know, like it's not something we're interested in. And usually that just comes in the form of doing buffs and nerfs when we're doing balance patches and things like that. I think one of the tricky parts of scope creep is like power acquisition rate scope creep instead of just like scope. I'm using the term scope creep. Sorry, power creep, and then power acquisition rate creep. Scope creep is when you start off on a project and it balloons as you're working on it because it's just one more feature, right? Boss bar. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. Right. More questions. I'm gonna try. I know I'm way over time, and I'm gonna try and answer as many as I can. I'm just gonna cut myself off, probably at half hour past the hour. So in what is that, 19 minutes? I'll probably just cut off, and I'll unfortunately go with a bunch of questions unanswered, and I do apologize. I have a bad habit of trying to answer them in detail and not skip over any. Right. Any plans to make the game feel less clunky when casting spells? Some spells feel slow and weird. I can't really explain it, but yeah. I mean, we put different cast timers on different abilities to, I guess, convey different feelings when you're casting those abilities. Some things that have a little bit more oomph to them, and the VFX scale is a little larger. Usually, like, so I'll use Glacier as an example. It probably has a pretty long cast speed overall compared to a cast duration, compared to something like Forge Strike. You know, so I think that I don't think there's any major plans just like cut all of those down to shreds. Those often are like really easy to impact yourself with cast speed. So I think that's another really positive thing, is that when you do have your gear that's impacting your gameplay feel in a way other than damage, is really positive experience. Just like you get an item with a ton of attack speed on it, and suddenly that attack that you were like chunk becomes like chunk, and it feels way better. And that moment is something we really love to capture. And so having abilities that maybe have a little bit higher base use duration affords that possibility a little bit more, I think. That healing hands proc is just doing work. We've got the, like, I'm so tempted to try and work in the Manifest Armor spec into our character, but like, I think I'm gonna have to just cut it at some point. Okay, we'll pick the ones that are shouting out to us. Poison, throwing. Yeah, not overly interested. Let's get a couple more things here. Damage, yes, please. A little more healing, yeah, I think that's worthwhile. Damage, yes, please. I'm not really sure where to put this point. I think here. Healing effectiveness actually helps us with damage. Is it this? Yeah. And this gets converted to melee here. Yeah. You have 4 points because I pulled this off of something, which is why we've lost stuff. Okay, that's the way it was. Note to self, don't take this off unless you're gonna put your points back. Oh, wrong one. Ah! I know what I'm doing, I swear. It's a lie, I have no clue what I'm doing. Come on, gotta get that stuff done. Soon. XP. Let's go for the XP. When are skill MTX coming out, or are they? They are. I don't have a time. Sorry. Oh, you were asking about Harbinger bases, Harbinger weapon bases earlier. I missed that completely. Sorry. Sorry if you answered this before, and why not add barrier shields to bosses? But why add barrier shields to bosses? I'm well over time, and I don't want to explain it because there's a written version. There is a go check out the quality of life blog post. There's a full detail version in there. Aren't you guys going to be worried about having cycle content in Legacy right away? I know GGG didn't put Challenge League content into core game right away. No, we're not worried about it. I think it's going to be a really positive thing for the game. People who are playing in Legacy cycles going forward will have more stuff to do, and the game will be more fun for them. Is there a technical reason why offline mode has to reload the pickup zone after an echo? Yes, there is. You cannot instantly exit echo and loot like in online mode. A few typos there. Yes, there is a technical limitation reason why it does that. Will you add a skip to the campaign option? We don't have plans for it at the moment. There are lots of ways to jump to the campaign very quickly right now, especially if you are online and have someone who can jump you to the monoliths. We are loosening some of those restrictions. We have loosened some of those restrictions, but they're still for the most part there. Especially with a new cycle drop. If you're playing cycle like the first time through day one, everyone's doing the cycle content as the campaign. Will you think about adding a rune? I think. Oh, we already answered this. The cycle will last 3 to 4 months. So the question is, the cycle will last 3 months like other games, or when will the next cycle be ready? So the timing on our cycles right now is 3 to 4 months. We don't have a hard set date for it yet. That's going to be a while before we have a fixed date for 1.2. So 1.1 just came out. It'll depend on how fast we're getting content in for it, how much time we're spending on the follow-up patches for 1.1, all sorts of stuff. Would love to have a shatter. Oh yeah, we talked about this. We already talked about this. Here we go. I know maybe it's not the main priority, but the most annoying part of the game that I cannot see is the mouse cursor. Any chance to make it bigger, brighter, etc. But by the way, I love the game. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, we've been trying to do this for I don't know how long. And it's still actively in development. We are working on it. There is more stuff to go still. I am, for the first time in a long time, hopeful. Will you guys have further controller improvements? Yes. I notice when I move my joystick to evade, it evades to where my character model is looking. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about decoupling move direction, targeting direction. Since there is beer in the game, what are the chances of fighting drunken pirates and little island bird friend too? I mean, I don't think it's out of theme, really. Who knows? Right. Is there a possibility to lock the skill bar? I mean, good suggestion. Slap that in places that suggestions go. In the distant future, is there any type of PvP going to be introduced? I love the game as a new player. First level 54 at the moment. Nice, congrats. I think we're pretty similar. 63. Crushing ya, huh? Just kidding. And I get balancing for that. You might be building that may fail every launch. Modern ARPGs are just lacking PvP, and I get the balancing for that. You might as be building that may fail every launch. I'm reading that wrong or something. I don't know. Have to ask though, not looking at promise, but a possibility. I think there's PvP is definitely on the table. It is what I think you were trying to say, not what we'd probably be bouncing around, and more of a just like, hey, there's PvP, it's fun. It's like people are doing broken stuff all over the place. Good luck. I'd really like to see like low level versions, like low level dueling was one of my favorite things to do in D2. I was never very good at it, but I loved it. So it's on our radar. It's not on our explicitly laid out path. Hello, Mr. EHG. Please, it's my father. No. I have a question regarding mortar maps. Like echoes that have the mortars in them, yes. How does the team feel about them as a whole? Very good. Currently, their ground effects can be obscured by other mobs, living or dead, and can snipe you while you're looking at a nemesis, leading to deaths that feel cheap because they can gib you in seconds. In echoes, you can handle easily. The out of combat mechanism doesn't quite address this, and I'm asking rather than making a suggestion because I don't know how to solve the issue. So I mean, there is a little bit of just I think the way we detect out of combat might just not be robust enough in general. You can, I think, as you do get used to it more and more, there are times where you're like, you're in that type of echo, and you've just got to do like a couple extra dodges to make sure you're out of combat, so it like stops shooting, and then you can do things like that. So my advice right now is just if you're there's nothing in the pipe to fix this or improve this, but if you are in that situation, my advice would be just wait a couple extra shots and the shots will stop. Or look for the random enemy nearby that's attacking you still. Because if you're not actually out of combat, it'll keep going. Hello, do you plan to replace the veteran's boots by a real difficulty mode or other item that is not an equipment item? No. If you'd like to leave a suggestion, you know the drill. Any possibility of allowing players to remap a button on Xbox controllers, or a button, specifically the A button, I assume. I don't think there's any specific plans to change those options. I'm not 100% sure why specific buttons are not remappable. I think there's just like functions that were like, this needs to be on on there somewhere. I think the only way we have to ensure that it's on there somewhere is to ensure that it's somewhere so that it's in a specific spot. So we'd have to develop a way to ensure that it's on there somewhere instead of that it's on a specific position before we could do something like that, I think. Alright, I hope I don't insult anyone with this feedback. It's okay, I've almost certainly heard worse, whatever it's going to be. But I really want to throw money at you guys. Yeah, I've heard worse. But your skins just aren't wowing me like PoE does. What are your guys' plans to make the skins quality and wow factor be better? I think the skins have been very steadily improving in quality and wow factor. And we're just going to continue to get better and better and better. So, get better is our strategy. I don't know. I think they I think we're on a completely different level here than we were when we first introduced them. Yeah, I'm really enjoying them myself. Class still probably good.
Yes.
A few more of these. Num 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 num. More crab-related items. I'm not biased towards crabs, but is there any info on the timeline for fixing the shared blessings bug? Not yet. As soon as I'm done with the stream, I'm gonna go back to working on it. Are you satisfied with the player retention from 1.0 and the player numbers with 1.1? I am, but I'm very easy to satisfy. Hi, Mike, and happy Friday. Hi, Mr. Flibble. Any chance for another co-stream with one of the other talented EHG devs? Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get more in here. Don't worry. I know y'all are bored of me. It's okay. I understand. I'm kidding, but yes, we will get more people in here. Season looks amazing. Congrats to the team. Thank you very much. Is my crab from I can never pronounce it. The ring ever be meta and to solo a playthrough for me? I doubt it. Don't forget to put yes. Thank you very much. Did you test run Harbingers and Aberoth as a melee build before launch? Yes, I did. So did several other people. Can we get the option to add multiple item types to proper base type filtering on a single filter? Just like you did with the affix filtering. Maybe. There are several things there that were like, well, this just won't work. And there's other things where we're like, we don't want to make that work. I think that's probably in the struggle to make it work for some reason category, but I'm not sure. Usually it's because of performance problems why things don't go in. Filter. I grabbed a filter online. Doesn't even show the sets. That's funny. I'm gonna pick it up. One day, those will be desirable enough to be filtered in. Do you have plans in place to rework set items? Hey, what an appropriately timed question. And if so, what patch? Yes, we do. We have we've had some long-standing plans to make some pretty significant changes to how set items interact with and fit into your item build for a character in general. We would really like to see them be much more represented than they are now, but not so represented that they take over the process and simplify the amount of items you're considering too much. If set items become too powerful and too ubiquitous, one decision or 4 decisions can end up becoming one decision. So if you're like, okay, do I put should have looked at what it was giving me. You're like, okay, well, do I put this item on my weapon or not? Becomes, do I put these 4 items on my character for a 4-piece set type thing? Usually we only have 3-piece sets, but still, there's a lot of room for reducing the amount of like thought that can go into the hey, I'm making a build, what items am I going to pick process. Which is good and bad in certain situations, but in general, we don't want set items to become ubiquitous. We would, however, like them to be frequently used to some capacity. And what that looks like, we're still, we haven't explained. I'm being very vague, and this is all stuff I've said before. But it is something that we are actively working on, and we do have a good solution in design for them. We just haven't scheduled them in yet, so I don't know when they're coming, but we do have a plan for them to come and be awesome. I'll tell you this: definitely not in patch 1.1. That's the best info I can give you on it, though. Sorry. Mike, why do you get robbed of crab when we have 2 crab rings equipped? You deserve to have 2 crabs. It's just the 1 crab. Sorry. It's a replacement ability effect. It's not a +1 crab effect. Oh, we're over the line, actually. Could have gone for the boss. Maybe I'll do that. We're already at the half-hour pass that I said I would finish at. Not going to stick around for too many more, but I'm going to try to because there's a lot of people here. Hi, everybody. I really like the class fantasy of a lich, and I haven't tried it yet, but it doesn't seem to be well represented. You think that the lich is a good place, but is maybe under overlooked, or do you think it needs some love? I think that very minor differences in peak power can have a surprising impact on class representation at higher end builds. I think the representation you see in the top of a ladder is rarely indicative of the overall player investment for those. Acolyte in particular is extremely high. Acolyte has a very disproportionately high representation of overall player use compared to its top end player use. So like, it doesn't really matter how well Acolyte's doing in a patch. People are playing it, just all over the place, all of it. Yeah. Between and Necromancer drives that a lot, just for the fact of its being Necromancer and it's the most popular mastery in ARPGs in general. Kind of no matter, or in the Last Epoch, anyways. It doesn't matter how strong it is. Necromancer will out. And I think that Lich and Warlocks sometimes pay the price of that a little bit, where if someone's like, I've picked an Acolyte, they're just so drawn to Necromancer that the other two take a hit. And then on top of that, between Lich and Warlock, who are more similar to each other than they are to Necromancer, Warlock's the new hotness, so it gets a lot of love. I think there's also room for, we also just pulled an ability from Lich and gave it to Warlock. And I think there is room for, I'd really like to see a second melee ability on Lich. Maybe something a little more of like a heavy attack style thing. I don't know. But there's room for, I don't know what's gonna go there yet. That's one of the few places that we still have locked in which ability is going in there, which is why I'm okay to talk about it. Because I don't know. But I would really like to see something fun go in there. Alright, are you going to take another look at... Sorry, answer that. Already answered that, I think. Let's start with something I recognize yet. Why can't we... Alright, answer that. Did I scroll up by mistake? Any chance that we will get a way to semi-deterministically change an affix with another of the same type, like on resistance with another? That is... something we've kind of talked about as like an alternate to like a less chaotic chaos glyph type thing. It's possible. I don't. There's no active plans to develop one, but I do really like it. Like where it specifically turns like a skill rune into another a skill affix into another skill affix. I think part of the problem with it is. Knowing like what the potential outcomes for every individual one is potentially it's a lot of data. It's a lot of information. I think there's a lot of room for people to be like, oh, I would have assumed that this could get that, but there's like some really obscure reason why it just doesn't work or something like that, or there's like an affix that shows up on an item, so like maybe health shows up on this item slot, but like percent health doesn't, and you're trying to reroll from health to percent health, and you just like never get it. It never works, but you just don't realize because just that health, that other health affix just doesn't show up on that item base type. So there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of game knowledge that becomes required in a system like that to implement to interact with it efficiently, which is something we try to avoid in general. But there might be a way to implement it well, so I think it's a good idea. But it's going to come around the whole way. You guys planning on adding falcon bird skins at some point? Oh yeah, it's like the one of the first things when you're like looking at what skills get skins. Like falcon comes to mind right away as one of the peak ones. Once again, it's another set, appropriate. It is a little bit on the trickier side to get them in. Because it is something that needs to be like rigged and animated fully instead of just a VFX that shows up. So I think you'll see, but then at the same time, I think that they would be so incredibly popular. So there's more incentive there. So I don't know what's going to come first, but yeah, it's on the list. Did you make the campaign harder? Not really. Any plans for achievements in the future? Oh yeah. Speaking of runes and glyphs, any idea if there's talk of reworking Glyph of Insight, or is it current implementation hearsay? I mean, there's no talk of it. It's not guaranteed to stay forever though, so maybe for both of those, I guess. Any love for an effect of Thorn style builds? I attempted to build one around Ring of Shields and it struggled hard on damage. Yes, it does. as long as it involves using skills and not just standing still, of course. We don't have any specific plans for it. It's a really tricky archetype to work in, and I think there's a lot of room for builds to emerge from that type of archetype that is really, really, really boring to play, as you've already pointed out in the question. So I having that become meta is scary. Alright, any idea if you guys will rework the respec part of the game? The current system is very annoying. Maybe if you've got a suggestion, drop it in the suggestion places, like our forums. Any plans to... Alright, answer that. Is there a possibility to lock the sky? Answer that. What do you think about introducing a tavern you can teleport to and use it as a place for a group finding? Maybe a little visual blur debuff for a minute after leaving the tavern. I think drunk VFX on UI is like the best way to like have a player bounce off your game possible. The first time I saw it in, it was the first game that I know it's not the first game that did it, but the first game that I think I saw it in was The Witcher 3. And it was simultaneously like one of the best and worst gaming experiences I've had in a long time. Like, I motion sickness does not affect me ever. I very rarely vomit with things like that. Like almost ever. I'm one of the things that I do well. One of the few things I do well. And I remember that happening and me being like playing like this, just be like, how little of the screen can I see to like just get through this so I don't feel sick. And like, oh, it was tough, but at the same time I'm like, this is super cool. So, and with the number of like these settings that we've added in specifically because people have a tough time with them visually, I don't think it's worth the time and effort, really. All right. I do like the first half of that idea though about a place to find groups and things like that. That was a plus in my world. Sorry, I just focused on that one little bit. Dodge rolls MVP of the cycle. I do enjoy it a lot. Okay, let's see what we got. Cold damage and crit avoidance. I mean, if you're doing like poison, like maelstrom bug, I guess there's some stuff there for that maybe. It's a lot of attunement. That's a lot of attunement. That's cool. Nothing super useful for us, but it's cool. Alright. Any chance of getting an evade option on the unbindable left mouse button with the move attack, etc. Maybe a move and evade? It's a cool idea. Put it in the suggestions place. I don't think we have any plans to do something like that at the moment. Loving the Harbinger system, trying to understand the conditions for re-challenging defeated ones. Is there a corruption amount I need to be at, or can I always challenge ones I've defeated in a given timeline when fighting the timeline boss? I think you still need to be in the... I'm also second guessing myself now. I think it's increasing the... I don't know. For completed ones, I don't know. I'd have to, I don't know. Sorry. For previously completed ones, I think they just keep spawning. If you're in empowered, you've completed it already, I think they'll just keep spawning. No, but then you just be able to farm eyes that way. On low ones. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Skip one there. Two questions. One, has spine been fixed? There were lots of problems that were fixed with the last patch. I don't know if any major changes have happened this. If there were, they'd be in the patch notes. As far as I know, it's working fine. Two, will you change merchant skills so that there won't be 500 different vendors? And that is one of the goals. That's one of the things I was talking about earlier about how it was like fixed to specific issues with the back end. I don't know why I keep doing these and not this. I think it would be very good to have information about the presence from a larger range. Star. There a chance that something like I've already answered this question. I couldn't figure out what it was saying the first time. Aberoth seems to incentivize high DPS builds rather than the tanky / melee builds. Is there a potential way to fix this issue? I mean, you can get a lot of success with the tanky build there too. You need a lot of tank to get through it. Even the builds that are high DPS, they're also still quite tanky usually. A glass cannon's going to get stomped on. I think if someone's willing to take fewer defenses and risk getting just obliterated, and is going to rely on their skill to avoid things, I don't think that's a problem that needs to be fixed really. That gap for melee versus range might be too big.
What brings you here?
We're rounding a 3-hour stream here. This is part of the problem as well, is I kind of just want to keep playing. But I do have to get back to work. So I think we're gonna end pretty soon. I think as soon as this echo's done, we're gonna end up here. I'll take a couple more questions.
Stand down or die. Yes?
Get out of here. I kind of want to take the shield wall on the charge node just because we're getting so many of these with the new shield crafter node that it would create such a large wall. Right, has the team thought of ways to up the fortune potential or special ways to gain fortune potential on spent items? We really intentionally don't have ways to add fortune potential back onto items. It's not impossible forever, but like we really intentionally have it set the way it is now. Or anyone else, is it publicly known what has the most impact on stability given from Glyph of Envy? Saw someone global getting 300-ish. I did it twice now, gave 600 plus, now 850. Is it for us to figure out the math, or is it publicly known? I don't think we've specifically said it. It's dramatically more on non-empowered stuff. On non-empowered stuff, it's basically just the whole thing. So it depends on which one you're on, because certain timelines have more stability required to get to the boss than others. My wife is calling. One moment, sorry. Yeah, she just hung up as soon as I told her that I was on stream still.
Yes?
She's probably sending me messages and I wasn't responding. Yes, it does not seem urgent though. Okay, we're gonna finish this one and then we're done. And I'm gonna try and grab some questions here. I want to scroll down. I'm gonna scroll down to live. Oh my god, I'm so far. Oh my goodness. Okay, I was getting some help before, and I'm going to try and get some more help again later to feed me questions so that it's like much faster instead of me lagging so far behind. Because doing both, I slip further and further behind every time. Some current ones. Will there be any way to inspect player gear and build? Maybe. We're a little leery of that sort of thing just because some people like to hide it. But I do think it would be positive overall. Just like see someone walking by and see what they're wearing. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Boss bar. Why are the set items so useless? Are you going to rework it? It's a very long story on why they're so useless. I don't think they're quite as useless as they're made out to be. They're definitely not as powerful as we would like them to be. And we are going to rework it, yes. Okay. That was a fantastic stream. Ran a little long. I answered a tiny % of the questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to them all. If I missed your question, which I did miss a lot and I'm sorry, it's not intentional, please head on over to Ask the Devs channel in our Discord. I'm there very frequently trying to answer as many questions as I can. You can usually get a little more into the weeds. That channel's been going forever and has a bajillion answers in them, so you can use the search function there as well. There's also FAQs there. I'd say 80% of the questions I answered today on stream were in that FAQ. But that's why I'm here and it's not a problem. So it's good to have those vocalized, which is fantastic. So we'll be back same time, same place next week. I hope you all had fun. I know I did. Thanks for coming. I've been having a ton of fun with this patch. More to come. We'll be back next week. And we'll try and get some guests in here soon as well. Now's the perfect time to do it because there's lots of people. It's exciting. So yeah, have a great time, everybody. Let's see if we can find someone to go say hi to. Who's getting real close to Oh, I think he's even remotely close. We're going there. I want to see the hardcore kill so bad. So bad. Have a great time, everybody. Drink lots of water. See ya.